My name is Chuck. Let's review. So Olight has sent me one of their Olight Perun 2. This is a limited edition version which has 166 meters throw and a maximum of 2500 lumens. That's quite a lot of power. So apparently the Perun 2 is an upgraded version of the Perun. The box comes in a plastic seal. You get a nice greeting underneath the flap, as well as 3 easy steps for use. Step 1, remove the protective film. Step 2, fully charge before turning it on, and a bunch of warnings. Removing this tab would reveal the contents inside. Opening the box shows you smaller boxes containing accessories. One box contains the headband, while the other box contains the charger and wristbands. Personally, I think these are not just mere accessories, they are necessities, because without them, I don't think the whole kit makes sense, at least in my case. These are the bare necessities, they are not just accessories. I love how heavy it feels in your hand. It makes the grip a lot more stable. The build quality is good, doesn't feel too plasticky, it feels sturdy, and it's something that could take a beating. The battery charger plugs into your standard USB port. It takes a standard 1.5 or 2 amps of power, and that determines how fast the whole thing charges. I can't remember how long it took for mine to fully charge because I just left it overnight, but I would imagine that it isn't taking too long. If you plan to head mount it, use the provided headband. It can be quite a struggle putting it in. An easier way to do it is to insert the torch into the headband first before wearing the headband. Before today, I only had to rely on my phone's torch to illuminate at night, but as of today, I have Olight. Now it's time to take some readings. Here's my digital lux meter, which I would be using to measure the intensity of the light. My phone's torch at default settings just peaks at just above 10,000 lux when the light is right next to the sensor. Pulling it further back gives me a reduced intensity of just under 1000 lux. On the other hand, using the Olight right next to the sensor makes it peak at over 200,000 lux. My sensor is only able to record up to 200,000. Pulling it back makes the reading drop down to 3100, and that's still higher than the rating on the box. Of course, the further the light, the more attenuation, or the weaker the intensity of the light. I think that's enough of the features and lux numbers. It's better if we go for a real world example. So let's just wait for nightfall and let's head out. I know it can be difficult for most people to get a good idea of how bright something is. After all, lux is not something that we would use every day. At least I know I don't. Other units such as temperatures, dimensions, volume, weight, that's something that we understand more because we use it very often. Unless you're an engineer in a related field, I don't think lux is something that you would be overly familiar with. So if I say that something is X lux and something else is Y lux, I don't think those numbers would make sense to most people. So here I am out in the garden. I am going to shine my phone's flashlight on the plants and compare that with the light from the Olight. With all of those times you have spent in the dark fumbling around with your phone's light, I think you know generally how bright a phone's light can get. So if you use that as a baseline and see the relative differences in brightness, and I think you would get a better idea how bright this thing really is. So let's head back into the darkness. I'm waving it around the plants now, and this is pretty much what I can see. It is bright enough for my needs, especially if I place my phone pretty close to the plants. This is literally how I've been doing things up until now. I'm just waving my phone on top of the plants, hoping to illuminate the area enough. I've got a Samsung S8 phone, and apparently it comes with brightness settings. So right now I have it somewhere above level 1, probably level 2. Let's see what happens if I move it all the way to level 5. For the most part, I think this torchlight on my phone is pretty much reasonable, at least for my sort of needs. The only downside to this is, of course, I need one hand to hold my phone, and that leaves me with just one free hand. And it can be limiting sometimes depending on what I need to do in the garden. But then again, it depends on what sort of gardening you do at night. And now it's time for my next trick. Now let's go back to my phone's torch. I've set it to the brightest setting. That way there would be some sort of fight at least between the two. And so bright. So let's see how they do side by side. I'm going to illuminate one side with my phone's torch and the other with the Olight. Let's compare. Now here's what I think is a better test. I'm going to shine my phone's torch directly on the plants, and while looking at the same plant, I'm going to turn on the Olight. So as you can see, the Olight is definitely overpowering my phone's torch. Apart from that, the Olight provides a larger angle of lighting, making me able to see a larger or a wider range of things, a larger illumination area. And yeah, it definitely looks a lot better than my phone's puny torchlight. Yeah. I wonder why I never got one of these before. If only I knew. You know what? I'm really glad I got the chance to play around with this toy. It's so bright. Now you can see me. Yeah, I can no longer imagine myself doing gardening at night without something like this on. You know, I have both hands to do whatever, and for me that means bug hunting. So let's go. I see you, slug. There's also a bunch of snails feeding on my succulents. Yeah, the things you see at night, man. You see this hole between the rocks? I know that a redback spider has made its home here, but it doesn't look like it's home right now. It might be out hunting. Yep. Spider buddy, where are you? We've also got some earwigs around the rocks. And finally, one of the redbacks. A torch like these would be really handy at night, because at least I know where the bugs are. It's pretty much for my own safety and theirs. So once again, I would like to thank Olight for providing me with this little toy to test. This is definitely going into my regular gardening arsenal. I can't imagine late gardening without this. My phone can get a rest now. If you want to get your hands on one of these, then you're in luck, because Olight is holding a Black Friday flash sale, which starts right now as you're watching this video, and it goes all the way until midnight on the 30th of November. So from today until the end of November. This torch is on sale at 40% off, and there's a 20% discount store-wide, website-wide. And if you use my code Cerris10, you get a further 10% discount after the sale. So click on the link down in the description, and the one flashing right on your screens right now, if you want to get one of these. I would highly recommend this, especially if you do anything at night, camping, gardening, or simply just fumbling around in the dark. I don't know. It's your life. I don't tell you what to do. But yeah, Olight Perun 2. Why didn't I think of getting something like this before? Better late than never. I'll see you next time. Bye.